In the same sense that there's these two features in a spiritual cloud. One union of cloud is for the purpose of revelation. And then there's an on and a cloud which its purpose is like a curtain to completely conceal completely. The same thing is also in regards to a physical cloud. There is also two levels. The there are light clouds, thin clouds, through which a person could still see the sun, even for a minute, a short time, which means they are not completely blocking the sun. And then there is anonim clouds that are actually darkening the sun, that doesn't allow the sun to come through. And this, our sages tell us that it's the day it is difficult, a day which is with thick clouds, like a day of judgment. The union of din, which is to judgment, the union of restriction, it's restricting the light. After the Rabbi explained the different levels of clouds in a spiritual sense and the two features as they are also in a physical sense, now we'll understand what is the union of the rainbow that comes after the Mabel. The world was not refined. Therefore, the clouds were in a state that the light of the sun cannot pass through, in order that they should be able to see it. It was impossible. It wasn't possible to see the colors of the rainbow because of the reflection of the sun did not pass. After the Mabel Shal Yodin is that the Eilam, the world was refined. Nasu Anonim Kalim Yeser. The Anonim became lighter, thinner. In order, in a way that the Eir HaShemesh could be seen through them like the colors of a rainbow. Now, what does this onan signify? This cloud, which is for the purpose of revelation, made a gamken alinyan tshuva. It also signifies the inyan of tshuva, which is repentance. Al derech hananak teres, the Yom Kippurim, habo al yedei tshuva, the Yom Kippurim. The same way that the spices, the smoke that arose from the essence, and the spices that they brought in the Beis Hamikdash, Yom Kippur, which was made in a special way, completely different than the other days, all the other days in the year. So this comes through the repentance of Yom Kippur. What does this mean? In the same way that onan, the cloud, in a literal meaning, a literal sense, the same way that when it comes to onan, a cloud, where does the cloud come from? In other words, it comes up from the ground. Vihishka, and then it waters the land. This aid came dafka min haaretz, which the haaretz is dafka from the ground, which means it comes from mamata l'mayla, from below to above. Keinu gamken inyan onan beruchnes hameir al aveda milmata, aveda satshuva. The same way is the inyan of onan in a ruchnistic sense. It is actually from below to above, which this is the inyan of tshuva. So in a physical sense, a cloud goes up, eid yalam in haaretz. In the same way, also in a spiritual sense, it is the Aveda of Tshuva that a Yid accomplishes through his Aveda, that he brings down, draws down a new revelation. There are three atmospheres between the sun and earth. The atmosphere that's the closest to the sun is with the strongest heat. Which is the strongest, right near the sun. And the atmosphere that is in the middle is the strongest, with the strongest coldness. The lowest hemisphere, the lowest atmosphere, closest to the earth, the Eir HaShemesh is with its strongest impact. Why? Machmas she'eini yochol lispashet yeser v'hu chezer min haaretz. Because it can't go further up, so mele it goes v'chezer min haaretz. Hainu b'chinas eir chezer shezeu inyan avedas hatshuva. This is, it's interesting because in other places the Rebbe explains that the lowest atmosphere is the hottest, because this is where the sun really has the impact on the beginning. No, it's tchilasan b'seifan. The beginning is always connected with the end. So where is the balance, the bouncing off of the sun? The heat is right by the earth. I think in the middle atmosphere is just passing through. Here the Rabbi is saying an interesting word and a different word. That he can't go further. Therefore, which actually is the same the Kudataka. He hits the ground, I didn't realize what it was. He hits the ground and Mamela backfires. Because this is where it ends up. The light, the sunlight cannot pass further. So it just bounces off the earth, Mamela the heat, and it comes back. So this is the Aveda of Eir Cheza, the Aveda of Tshuva. So although in the mashal, in the parable, it seems like it's coming from the sun, but in Avedas Hashem, in a spiritual sense, it is initiated on the part of people. Tshuva. Through the Aved of Tshuva, which is the cloud that comes on the from below to above, as we mentioned earlier from Parsha Bereishis, the cloud that comes up on waters. So then it forms, it brings about a rainbow which has 3 colors. What are the 3 colors? The Aved of Tshuva in general, in detail, it has to be in all the kavim, which means he has to deal with all his midas, which the first 3 are the main personal traits of the person. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes. Then comes Tiferet, Netzach, Heid, are branches from Chesed and Gvura. So Meila, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes are the basics. And the Avedas HaTshuva has to be with all of them. It's interesting because Dafke, the combination of all of them brings it about. So there's a Maimer from the Mittel Rebbe. The Mittel Rebbe says in the Maimer it's printed Pashtus and Teres Chaim or the Razei and Mittel Rebbe the Nesfu Kol Adorim in Parsha Vayetze we have that when they had the stone that was covering the well, so they needed Kol Adorim. All the shepherds get together, all the groups, and they're able to move the stone. So the Mittel Rebbe explains in a Maimer, and the handwritten Maimer is printed also in Hatomim. That's originally the Maimer, like a page of the Maimer. The Mittel Rebbe explains that there was a certain lesson that was derived, I think it was from the 7-Year War, that took place, I think, about Shem Tiv's time, a certain time in the 7-Year War. And he says, what did they take out? They always use new tactics in the army. He says, what did they derive from there? They derived that when you want to fight the enemy, it's not enough that each one of your regiments, brigades, are going to fight one front of the enemy, but first you have to mobilize your whole army on one front and fight the enemy on one front, then the second front, then the third front, which means combining all of the different brigades of the army and fight the front on each, and fight the enemy on every front separately. Not that with one brigade is going to fight the enemy's brigade, another brigade is going to fight the enemy's brigade in the north and the south and the east and the west, but actually the whole army has to gang up in order to be able to be victorious over all the other sides. So the Mittel Rebbe says, in Avedas Hashem, this means that when we have Midas, instead of fighting Chesed of Kedusha, should fight Chesed of the evil inclination, and Gvura, the second Sfira, which is Gvura, should fight Gvura of the evil inclination. So you have to have all of them together, Chesed, Gvura, Teferes, should gang up on chesed of the evil inclination.